Hello, I'm Crickets, and welcome back to I Have a Story. In my last video, I talked about the Futon Gallery, and I guess I'll get that done and out of the way. I'm sharing my life experience and how much different my childhood was than most other people's, and early adulthood, and well, just keep following along with my Life Mondays videos, even though I'm airing these on a daily basis and not just Mondays, but you can find them under the MLM folder in my videos, My Life Monday. Um, Sorry I haven't got out here in a couple days. I had a really rough week this week physically and had a couple doctor's appointments and then couldn't even make one of them. I had a really bad week this week. But I want to stay on track here. When I worked at the Futon Gallery, this would have been my late teens, 18-ish, 19. Getting out of the restaurant business, and part of why I wanted out of the restaurant business was because I wanted out of the nightlife, and the restaurant business, biggest, most money to be made is dinner time, and if you want to make money, the best time to do it's dinner time, and it's a nightlife. You get off work at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. I can't go home and just go to sleep. I have to have my wind down time. And what do you do at 1 o'clock in the morning when everybody else is in bed? That, in my experience with the restaurant industry, was what else everybody else had that issue with. They went out and drank and saw a lot of cocaine and a lot of drugs, even here in the Futon Gallery. So this was a pretty large place, and it was really nice. And talking about my videos about being stalked by men and women, this is one of the places that my first wife would stalk me at, and we weren't married, we were teenagers, and we dated, and I kept trying to break up with her, and she'd stalk me. uh, Donna, there was a saleswoman there, her name was Donna, and she said, "Hey, isn't that your ex-girlfriend sitting across the street?" Yeah, that is her. She's just sitting there she'll just sit there for an hour or two and just stare at the building. Okay. Once my brother and I locked ourselves in the basement and she's beating on the door trying to get me to come out. I had already broke up with her. "You're not breaking up with me, you're coming out." My brother's like, "Bro, you got to get rid of this one." That's why we're locked in a basement, my man. Oh, Jesus. Jesus. That'll get to when I get to my marriages and the women that I married and talking about that. And I want to share more about my pre-marriage life and who I was, what happened to me, the things that I got put into because of the situations I was in. So working here, Donna, I guess she claimed to be a professional female billiard, and her and I used to go over to there was a pool hall right down the road, and our manager who opened up the store to let us in lived in Detroit. We're in Toledo, and he was late a lot. I think he lived a nightlife himself. I know he did to an extent, but he was a wild one. He's a nice guy, fun guy, but he liked to go out and have fun. Well, he ended up quitting or whatever happened because he got tired of driving from Detroit to Toledo every day to sell furniture. I know because I used to drive from Toledo to Detroit to repo houses every day for a year, and that got old. But those are tales for another time. So working at this, I learned a lot about playing pool, and Donna was a really cool woman. She ended up after that leaving, and I don't know if this killed her career. She became a salesperson at a cemetery, and I knew the cemetery well because not only did I have friends that were groundskeepers there, but that's also the cemetery my grandparents are buried at. So we also had a guy who worked for us, and talking about drugs, there was a salesman who worked there, and I had been the longest. I was hired in as a warehouse worker, and my job was to set up and take down floor demonstrations and models, and to maintain the warehouse, and to deliver and assemble furniture. And I would show up with 300-pound, great big, huge, full size, I could climb inside of and just stand up oak armoires and huge furniture and deliver it by myself. and show up and people are like, "Where's your crew at?" It's just me. Wait, you've got that great big thing. It needs to go upstairs. Don't worry, I got it. This is part of how I became so big and strong because I pushed myself beyond. And yes, there were 2 employees, 3 employees prior to me, and when they found I could do it, this is what happens in life. And at almost 50 years old, I'm finally burned out of it. It took this long for it to just finally burn me out. Like, no, that none of it was worth it. If I would have succeeded in life, it would have been. It all would have been worth it. And I talked about how I slept around a lot. And that was one of the jobs. I'll tell you what, I didn't even have to flirt or do anything. I just set up furniture, take out the trash, and come back in to say, "Hey, ma'am, ma'am, ma'am." And women just were attracted to me. But with the drugs I ended up being like, after the the guy from Detroit quit coming down, I pretty much ran the show. I had been the longest running employee in the store and had my head on my shoulders, and I was then getting into sales. That's how I got into that sales. I didn't like sales, and I'll finish this with another story of to tell you who I am. Sales. So one day I walk into the break room just in time to catch him doing a line of coke off the table. And he jumped up, boom, deer in the headlights. I even had deer in the headlights. I mean, I'm a teenager. He's like 50 years old, give or take. And he panicked. "Oh, don't fire me, don't fire me." I'm like, "I don't care what you do. Don't be doing that stuff here. I didn't know how to handle it. I'm a teenager. I don't know how to handle the situation." Like, wait, I just caught a guy snorting a line of coke off a break room table. And I'm technically his boss, even though nobody really had a title as boss, because then I'd have to get paid more money. And I just do what I do. I take over everything. I see something needs filled, I just do it. I don't say that's not my job. I don't have the title for that. But then I just get taken advantage of, run over in the process. "Oh man, that guy just came in here and I asked him if he could make it snow, and I sold him some furniture and he came back, and I don't care about the store, man. Just keep your nose clean." Oh, Jesus. He run out. Cop one day pulls in between Marco's next door and our building, and he runs out, closing the curtains and shutting off the lights at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, "What are you doing?" "Oh man, there's a cop. Close down the store." Well, you close down the store at 2 o'clock. I think you're going to trigger the cop's attention. And many times he tried getting me to snort after I don't know what to do. I've never met the owner face to face. Talked to him a few times over the phone. I don't know what to do. Just people are people. Let them do their thing. Now, this is back in the 90s. So it made things pretty interesting, I'll tell you, to say the least. Then, or we ended up losing all our employees. It turned out that the owner, scandalous salesman, absolute scandalous salesman, he built himself up to have a huge amount of credit with a lot of furniture companies. We're talking millions of dollars worth of furniture. I don't even know, between all of his stores that he had between Toledo and Detroit, in the surrounding areas, Farmington Hills, and he had several stores, and he was getting credited furniture through many manufacturers, many of them, and not paying it, and not paying it, and not paying it, and not paying any of his bills, and pocketing all the money. I got a hard crash course in life all the way around with just that job, and many other life experiences that most people will never experience. I stuck it out, said, "Hey, this is going to be fun. I'm going to be here till the day we close these doors," and I was. I made good money. I enjoyed what I was doing. Felt at that time I was building myself up in knowledge and experience, and adding some more stars on my belt. And I did. I mean, everything in my life, that's part of, I've done so much that it's given me huge life experience. But it was getting towards the end of the career of that furniture store, and I found out how corrupt and what the owner was doing. And I've got bill collectors coming to the door, calling on the phone, finding out that he's running up all these lines of credit, selling this furniture for very large. I mean, this was on the edge of Toledo and Sylvania, so he's drawing in people with money. It was not in poor neighborhoods. Anybody who knows Farmington Hills is not a poor neighborhood. He was in places of money selling for good money and pocketing it all and moving on to other companies, draining his account dry there, not paying it, pocketing it all, and losing everything in the process except for all the money he pocketed beyond whatever lawsuits or any battles that might have taken place beyond and I have no idea about. So I got a crash course in life on a lot of experience in that job, including how to play pool really well. Spent a lot of time with Donna playing pool before, after, during. We spent a lot of time playing pool. Whether she was really a professional billiard or not, I really don't know. I was not into billiards and didn't know men or women professional billiards, but she couldn't be a professional female billiard, and she was kicking my butt. I know that. I definitely had to learn how to play to keep up. But to the point of who I am, coming down to the end and finding out, I don't know when these doors are going to close. It's going to be any day now, and this has all been a scandalous business. I had an elderly couple come in, and they were roughly 70-ish years old, and they wanted the cheapest futon we had because their couch was so bad that they couldn't sit on it anymore, and they just wanted the cheapest thing we could sell them so that they could have something to sit on. And I'm telling you, the cheapest futon out is garbage. Oh my god, it's garbage. Those black metal framed, white metal framed, basic round bar futons. I'm not saying that there's no use for them and you should just throw them away, but they are not especially elderly friendly, let me tell you that. Especially with the cheapest mattress you could put on it. It was no. We had to swap out the mattress on our showroom floor to keep it fresh because they are garbage. So they came in talking about medical conditions, ran themselves into the ground with medical debt. I've heard the stories and seen it in so much in my life with elderly people and struggling with medical problems. It's wrong. It's wrong. More stories, especially with repoing houses, that I want to share. Another one that's for when I repoed houses stories. So they wanted the cheapest. It was like $150, $100 futon back in the 90s. And I said, no, you guys can't. You guys are not going to be able to sit on that. You might feel on this one comfortable. And I even tell them straight out, we swap out this mattress to keep it fresh and soft and fluffy because they compress. It's a garbage. You're not going to even want to sit on this thing in 6 months. But we need something. I said, tell you what, pull around back. They pulled around back. I opened up the back of their station wagon, and I had the most expensive $1,000 all oak, high grade premium mattress futon we had. I just loaded it up in the back of their car and said, Merry Christmas. I said, wait, we got to go pay for it. I said, no, you can't afford what I just put in the back of your car, and I feel bad that. And I even gave them a little insight on the business and said, I wouldn't normally do this probably. I don't know. It's one of those things, I don't know what you ever do unless you're in a situation and feeling like you should be able to help somebody. But I told him, that business is going down and the owner is corrupt and he's not even paying for it anyway, so why should you? Why should you pay for it if he's not going to pay for it? And it's a scam that he has going on, so I didn't feel bad one bit, not one single. There was no ounce in me of regret for doing that. That was a good couple, nice people who were put in a very bad situation and were willing to buy garbage just to have something, and I had the opportunity to give them something much nicer. I'll tell you about futons. Get one with flat bars because the flat bars are far more comfortable than the round ones, and the round ones will end up being a bar in your crack. But the oak one was solid, nice. I mean, obviously it was $1,000 futon. It was a nice futon. I wish we would have had regular lazy boy couches. We didn't. We were Futon Gallery, and we had futons and beds, bedroom outfits, entertainment centers, and things like that. But I couldn't just let them walk out the door with something that in 6 months is going to be causing them back pains if they even don't even sit on it for 2 days without having back pains and not being able to stand up. I can't. Again, I was in an opportunity in a place and at a time that I could not feel bad about it. So I'm talking about my life stories and sharing more about my entering of adulthood and those years. There's another story for you.